well. You can use it for network devices automation as well. Like there are multiple usages we have here. Let's discuss each and everything one by one. See, let me start from here. This Ansible. So as I told you, I have two major concepts with me today. So why this Ansible? And second one is the basic fundamentals about the Ansible concepts and the Ansible architecture. And we'll see about some exam orientation. Okay. See, let's see this first question here. What is Ansible in this case? So we are all going to talk about this Ansible, right? So why Ansible here? See, it's very simple. Ansible is just an automation platform. So if you ask me this Ansible, so what is Ansible? Simple. Ansible is just an automation platform. Just an open source automation platform. Ansible is just an open source automation platform, or it's an automation tool. So before going to this Ansible, let's talk about this automation platform again. Even what is this automation platform? What is the use of it here? Is it necessary for us, or is it a leading technology in the market? Yes, exactly. See, so there are two things when you're going for the automation. One is to reduce human errors. Human errors. Second one is infrastructure as a code. Infrastructure as a code platform. See, like as per Red Hat people, they're talking about it like this in a tech, like in a very good way. They're talking like mitigating human errors. So automation is not new for us here. Like in different environments, we have Ansible. Like we have automation. Like you can see your automobile industry or different industries. So when it comes to this IT, when you're deploying any application, or when you're managing your application, or when you're doing any configuration changes for the application, so instead of human interaction with the application, so what we are doing here, we are using an automation language. So what happens with this, like as a human, sometimes we may forget to update the changes, or sometimes we may forget to write some, like execute some type of codes, or there may be a chance to give wrong code, or there may be a chance to give some wrong commands, things. So with the help of automation, we can avoid such type of things. So where you can describe the actual state you want to be in your environment. So with automation, we can save the time of the administrator, the first point, because as an administrators or the any IT employee or for everyone, time is a major constraint. So with automation, we can save the time, and where you can save the time for the troubleshooting when you get errors, because most of the errors, like we are reducing the errors with the help of automation. And then second one is the major point, or this this important point here, why we are going for the automation, because to maintain your infrastructure as a code. So infrastructure as a code, in the sense, you can use your like code to describe your IT infrastructure to be in, like what type of infrastructure to be in, that you can use your own code to describe your IT infrastructure. These are all the two things why automation platform is needed. See, why automation platform is needed. These two things. But when it comes to Ansible, Like as I told you, there are multiple, like the most common words we heard: a Terraform, Ansible, and then as well as like a Puppet, like this. Like we have multiple tools in the market. So, but when we have this many tools, Praveen, why we are gonna talk about this Ansible here? That's very important. So why Ansible here? As I told you, Ansible is an open source automation platform. We just discussed what is automation, why we need it. Now let's talk about this Ansible. See, the first thing about this Ansible, why we need to go for the Ansible when you're multiple options in the market. The first thing, see, when especially you're talking about the Ansible, most usage is for config management. Config management. See, Terraform, such type of things, like mostly we use for infra management, infra automation. But when you're coming for the Ansible, your application management or this, once you deploy the application, or from from the deployment and to end, you can manage your application. So where you can automate your entire first point, where you can automate entire application lifecycle. Like you can use it for entire application, automate your entire application lifecycle from the development stage. Like you can deploy the application, you can manage, you can test, multiple things can be done by Ansible. But Praveen, I can do these things with other tools also, right? So I can, I can automate my application lifecycle with other tools also, right? Then what is the special uh, use cases, or what is the special case which brings Ansible into the picture? Guys, this is very important. Is Ansible is very simple. One of the major reason is what? Ansible is very simple. So simple in a sense. So your Ansible code is written in a ML format, is a simple ML script, YAML format. So where everyone can easily understand, if you are having basic knowledge, you can easily understand when you see the code. To understand the code and to write the code, it is very easy. And second point, you no need to have any additional knowledge, like any programming knowledge or any scripting knowledge to learn Ansible. So this is where a common question where all the people have, like, do we need to know any scripting, or do we need to know any programming language to know the Ansible? No, not at all required. If you know the basic Linux commands, that's more than enough. So you don't need to go for Python, you don't need to go for any Java, you don't need to go for any shell scripting concepts and all. So YAML has its own syntax, ML has its own procedures, Ansible has its own set of modules. So we will discuss each and everything in the course. At the end of the day, you people only will see. We don't need to know any other languages to learn Ansible. So that much easy Ansible is. So we are writing all the form of this, very simple, and you don't need to have any other programming knowledge. And this, when someone comes into your environment, or when someone is reading your code, they can easily understand your code. So that's how it is. Once we start the sessions, within 1 or 2 days, you will get to know how it is possible. Because in a single session, we cannot demonstrate everything, but it's very simple to learn. And second point, Ansible is powerful. I'm thinking Ansible is powerful. So these are all the features of Ansible. Remember, these are all the features of Ansible. What I'm saying, the simple and powerful, these things. See, powerful in the sense, as I told you, you can automate your entire application lifecycle from development stage to testing stage, and which is one of the important tool in a DevOps. And here you can automate your Linux devices. Let's see. So why it is powerful? You can automate your Linux devices. You can automate your Windows devices. You can automate your cloud. You can integrate with a cloud platform. You can integrate it with your cloud platform. You can automate your network devices. So network automation is also possible with Ansible. So network automation, you can integrate it with any OpenShift platform, or you can integrate with the Jenkins, such type of things. So you can integrate and automate this many things with the Ansible. So Linux, Windows, cloud platforms, the network automation, like multiple things you can do. So that's where we call as a Linux supports, Ansible supports cross platform. So where you can automate your Windows, where you can automate your network devices and all. And then the third point where I like, or the people like Ansible personally, agentless. Agentless. See, Ansible is agentless. Agentless in the sense what exactly? To know this one, you need to know Ansible architecture. I'll just explain you how Ansible architecture will be. Try to understand. Then again, I'll come back to this point. Wait. Ansible architecture. Okay. So, see, when you talk about this Ansible architecture, Ansible will have two things. When you talk about this Ansible architecture, Ansible will have two things. One is Ansible control node. Ansible control node. Second one is Ansible managed host. Or we can say is managed node also. Control node, managed host. This technical terms. So you just for some time ignore this control node and managed node. Let's say you're accessing an NFS server. So what we'll have, you're configuring an NFS part. So what we will have here, this is my NFS server. This is my NFS server. So from there I have some clients, right? Am I correct? Like let's say if you're taking the FTP server, or if you're taking a repo server, or if you're taking NFS, or it can be anything in the multiple servers. Like see, here I can have this my server. These are all my clients. Am I correct? So we'll have a server there like your RCS log server, or can be anything, multiple things, NTP server or things. So this is your server. These are all what? Clients. Clients. This is your server. These are all your clients. So similarly, in Ansible also, we have this concept client and server. Sorry, server and client. But we should not call them as server and client. The concept looks like your server and client, but we should not call them as server and client. Then Praveen, what we call them? Yes, we call them as control node and managed host. Let's say this is my server, but I should not call it as a server. You have to call it as a control node. You have to call it as control node. And then see guys, so whatever the things you have with you, these are all your client machines. But as I told you, we should not call them as the clients. So what we call it is, what is the second part? What we call it?
Management.
Management. That's it. One thing. There's some tools are missing. Just wait. So these are all my managed nodes. Now the question, Praveen, what's it's doing with the what is this control node and manage node? What's happening here exactly? See, try to understand. As I told you, we are going to automate this entire setup. Let's say if these are all my manage nodes, these are all my manage nodes. We are going to automate this entire manage node setup. If I have 100 manage nodes or 10 manage nodes or 15 manage nodes, my target is to automate this all the units. Try to understand. My target is to what? Automate this all the units. So how you are managing with the help of control node? So we write our Ansible code here. Try to understand. We write our Ansible code in a control node. This code will be pushed into managed host. Try to understand. We write the code in the control node. We configure Ansible in the control node. We configure everything in the control node. From the control node, we push the code into manage node and then the manage nodes will execute the code. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So now this is how this automation is happening in Ansible. This is just, if you get to know this particular concept, you will have a better understanding about the Ansible in upcoming sessions. So we'll have a control node. So you will have only one control node, but you can have a many managed host that are installing control node managed host. We will discuss later. Just I'm just talking about the architecture. So the code will be pushed, like the code will be written here, and from there the code will be pushed into the managed host into different things. Now the question, Praveen, in which form the code will be written? That's the question. So as I told you, we are writing the code in the control node. But Praveen, in which form you are writing the code? See, there are two things. One is ad hoc command. So ad hoc command, like let's see, one is ad hoc command. This is for one-time execution. See, ad hoc commands is for what? One-time execution. But the most important thing is what? In the form of playbooks. We are writing code in playbooks that I'll show you later what is playbook, what it contains, how we write the playbooks, how we push the playbooks into manage node. Simple. See, if you're writing a one command that we call as a ad hoc command, if you're writing multiple commands, multiple tasks in a file, simple. If you're writing a single task, that we call as a ad hoc command. If you're writing multiple tasks in a file, that we call as a playbook. It's like you know the scripting, right? If you're writing a command in the command line, that's a single time execution. But if you're writing multiple commands in a particular script file, that we call as execution or a script file. Similarly, if you're writing the single command at a time in your command line, that we call as ad hoc command. When you're writing multiple tasks in a file, that we call as a playbook. Are we clear?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Now, see why I'm talking this agentless concept. Let's come back to this agentless concept. Let's say just take your NFS server as example. Do you need to install the NFS package in server part? See, if this is your NFS server, do you need to install the package here?
In the manage node.
No, no. Like so, no. Just ignore the control node and manage node. Let's say I have NFS server and NFS client. Just assume NFS server and NFS client. So, will you install the package in NFS server? Do we need to install?
Yes, we need to.
We should, right? Otherwise, how can we call it as an NFS server? So, do we need to install it on client part also?
Yes, we have
Yes,
to.
we need
Some
to.
clients.
Exactly. NFS, some particular packages need to install.
Yeah. Out of
Let's
S.
say you are taking SH connection, or let's say you are configuring any FTP, or can be multiple things. So you have to install the package on the server side, and you have to install the package on client side also. But when it comes to Ansible, you have to install Ansible only on the control node. You no need to install Ansible on managed host. Remember, that's where we call as Ansible as agentless. Ansible need to be installed in only on control node. On manage node, it's an optional thing. If you want to install, you can install. If you don't want to install, that's okay. Just leave it. But you have to install it only on the control node, manage node. It's not necessary. That's where we call as agentless. Now again, immediately the question comes into the picture. Praveen, if there is no package or a platform in between two things, let's say when you're talking about this NFS, I'm just installing the NFS in a both server and client so that the connection will happen then. The communication will happen. Then how the communication is happening between a control node and manage node without installing the package on the manage node? Are you getting my point? Let's say if I need to transfer you money, like you need to have any like UPI transaction application, or I need to have. When I don't have the things, how can I do that? Right? Similarly, when you don't have a Ansible and manage node, how the communication is happening? See, the communication is happening here with SSH. The communication is happening with SSH. So Ansible no need to be installed on the manage node, but you must have the SSH connection between your control node and manage node. Then only it executes the tasks. That's it. So apart from this, you don't need to install any other packages. You don't need to install any additional packages. Are we clear? So
Yes.
any queries up to this?
No.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So SSH needs to be there. So this is three major pieces why Ansible is needed. Simple, powerful, agentless. And if you go for some other additional points, yeah, I know, like so this whatever I explained, those things are there. Ansible, simple, powerful, and agentless. Okay, let me tell you. Linux to Linux, just try to understand. If you're automating Linux to Linux machines, then it is OpenSSH. But if you're managing Linux to Windows machines, is binary. Is binary root. Remember, so Linux to Linux it is OpenSSH. Linux to Windows, the connection will be established with the help of binary. And then let's see here. See some basic points. I can I don't want to put that in any presentation because there are very small points, but which where I can demonstrate in a normal conversation. So that's why I'm just putting it here. One is cross-platform support. So I can say here some more features. Cross-platform support. See this cross-platform support in the sense, as I told you, with the help of Ansible, you can manage Linux machines, Windows machines, and network devices. You can integrate with the cloud platform and all the things. But here there is one strong rule is what? Your manage node can be a Windows machine or a network device or a Linux machine or Ubuntu family, can be anything. But your control node should be a Linux machine. Guys, remember, your control node should be a Linux machine. Your manage node can be any other type of OS. This is a standard rule you need to remember. You cannot make your Windows as control node. Only Linux or Unix type of machines can be works as Linux family machines can be configured as control node. That's what the cross platform. And then human readable automation. As I told you, Ansible is very simple so that everyone can simply read the things. Human readable automation. It's very simple, like the code is written in ML format. It looks like very easy. Once you start the one or two examples, you will only get to know what's happening in your environment. That much easy it is. So, and then as I told you, perfect description for your applications. So if you can see this, Every change can be made by Ansible playbooks, guys. As I told you, playbooks are just nothing but multiple tasks. And every aspect of your application environment can be described and documented. See, a playbook definition later I'll give you in a detailed way. As of now, yeah, we are discussed like we are in a beginning state. To understand, I'm giving you some overview about the playbooks, but later I'll give you a complete description about the playbook. How do we write the playbook and all? But as of now, it's not necessary, so that's why I'm just discussing it in a single line. Then you can integrate with you can easily manage in your version control system like a Git or Big Bucket can be anything. And one more interesting stuff is what? Support for dynamic inventories. Let me take this point for some time. Support for dynamic inventories. So here, first you should know what is inventory, then you will get to know what is dynamic inventory. See, inventory is just nothing but, so which machine is managing the managed host? Guys, can you please specify? Which machine is managing the managed host?
Control node.
Control node, right? See, if I'm a control node, let's assume an example. If I'm a control node and I am managing you people like a managed host, you are a managed host, I'm a control node, then I should have details about you with me, right? When I'm contacting you or when I'm managing some particular machines, I should have some details about the machines, like what is the IP address of it, what is the host name of it. Am I correct? As a control node, when I'm trying to reach you, how I should have your contact number or your Gmail ID or your name. So similarly, the control node will have some details about the managed host. Otherwise, how it is possible? It's not at all possible. So the file where Ansible control node will have the details. Let's say the file in a control node which is having details of the managed host, we call as inventory. Are we clear? The file which is having details of the managed host like the host name and IP address for communication purpose, that file we call as inventory. So now tell me what we are storing in the inventory. Inventory under the like inside the inventory we are storing managed host details. Are we clear? Is there any confusion?
No problem.
No, that's it. So managed host is having some managed host details we are storing in a particular file in the control node. That's inventory. So when you're writing about the inventory, this inventory will have two types of inventories. One is static inventory, or it's better to write somewhere. Let me write it. Yeah, okay, I'll write it here. Just make it. One is a static inventory. Second one is dynamic inventory. Second one is dynamic inventory. See, throughout this course, we will discuss the static inventory only, but there is a small concept about the dynamic inventory, but we don't have much details about the dynamic inventory. But okay, static inventory in the sense what? You are writing this details manually. So in a file, you are writing the details manually. Let's say today I have written 100 machines details in my file, but can you say that in your production environment for tomorrow also it will be the same details, or after 1 week also will it be the same details? Are you getting my point? Or shall I repeat again? Okay, just try to understand. Today I have written an inventory. So in that inventory, I've written 100 managed host details, like 100 details. Like that is my inventory. I have some managed host details. After 1 week, I'm trying to execute the same inventory. So can you say that the same machines will be available in your production now? No, guys. We can't say which machine comes up or which machine goes down in a real time. Like, due to some issues, some machines may go down. Again, due to high availability, some machine may comes up, right? So the IPs may change frequently, or the machine details will change frequently. In your cloud, you may launch new instances, you may launch new, you may close some instances. These things will happen. Then, if it is 10 to 15 machines, you can update it manually. Imagine you have 1,000 devices or 100 managed hosts or 200 managed hosts or 1,000 managed hosts. Do you think that specifying all the 1,000 host details manually is possible? So are you getting my point? So what I'm asking, this is a bit interesting and important point. So is it possible for us to make changes for all the 1,000 hosts manually?
No.
No, not at all. So then in that case, what we do, we use a dynamic inventory. So this dynamic inventory in the sense, we are not writing the inventory manually. Listen this. We are not writing the inventory manually. We write some scripts. We write some scripts. So once you execute the scripts, based on the script result, inventory will be generated automatically. See, we write the script for the dynamic inventories. So based on the machine's availability and all, the script will generate the inventory. So now you don't need to write it manually, the inventory details. So whatever the script you have written, whatever the code you have written, based on the code, that script will generate an inventory that we call as a dynamic inventory. Are we clear? Sure. Yeah. So that's what Ansible supports for dynamic inventory. So which is not only for the static, which supports for dynamic inventory, where you no need to do manual changes. So some predefined scripts will be there, or you have when someone writes the scripts, we'll take the scripts and execute so that the dynamic inventory will automatically generate. This is what how it works and all. And then so orchestration that integrates easily with other systems like your HPSA or the Puppet, Jenkins, your satellite servers, your OpenShift environment can be integrated with your Ansible workflow easily. That's where your Ansible can be managed. That's why we are calling it as mostly a config management tool. Although it is an automation, in automation there is a particular specialty for Ansible is that is configuration management. So Ansible is especially it is a config management tool. You can manage all the application details and all your application things. So this is a where from your development to production you can see this. From the development to production, Ansible will be there. Each and every stage you can use this Ansible, or you can perform you can do operations, you can manage it, you can deploy the application, you can develop the code. Multiple things can be done with the Ansible. So communication is the key for the DevOps. Like I don't want to read it again, and that's why. Yeah, I've explained you this Ansible concepts and architecture that I know. Yeah, okay. So this is how this exact Ansible architecture looks like. The Ansible architecture looks like. So where we have this Ansible playbooks, or the users, you just this playbooks will be comes from this from private or public. This all the things will be come to this Ansible automation engine. This Ansible automation engine is just nothing but your control node. Your control node will have all the stuff. See, wait. So automation engine is just nothing but your control node itself. So you will have inventory, modules, APIs, plugins. Like that, I'll tell you later because we are just beginning here. We are just starting here, but later we will discuss all the stuff. So in an Ansible engine, you will have this stuff and all. So from there, this you will write the playbooks. This user will interact with these things. Like as I told you, can be you can integrate with your public and private clouds things. So when it comes to this all the stuff, you will go with the host. This is where your managed host comes into the picture. The hosts are just nothing but your managed host. This is how your Ansible architecture looks like. So in a single automation engine or a single control node, you can manage all the stuff. That's how this. There's some other stuff is there. That's I don't want to go for it now. This is what this basic stuff how the Ansible works, why Ansible is important when compared to other tools, and what is the Ansible architecture here. That's a basic information about the Ansible. Now, I would like to show you the course curriculum if you are all comfortable with whatever we discussed. Guys, are we all clear with whatever the concepts we discussed?
Yes, Pavan.
Yeah, Megha, Manoj, Farid, Badrinath, Shahbaz.
Yes. Yes,
Yes,
Praveen.
Pavan.
Yeah, great. So now I would like to show you the course curriculum here, what we discussed and all. Let's see. So the first introduction to Ansible, just I discussed some part of this points, some part of from this chapter, some concepts we discussed today. But again, when we start the course, I'll explain you each and everything from top to bottom, how to install the Ansible, what are the prerequisites for Ansible. I will explain you each and everything there. And second point is what is how to deploying Ansible. Deploying in the sense, as I told you, there will be an inventory, like how to write an inventory, or like what are the formats you can write there, what steps you need to be take care when you're writing the inventory, and what are all the Ansible configuration files, how do we write them and all. As I told you, there are some ad hoc commands. We'll discuss how ad hoc commands works in the second chapter. And third chapter, we go with implementing playbooks. Like what is playbook, how we write the playbooks, and how to run the playbooks and all. How can we write multiple plays? What is the use case of it? How to do the troubleshoot? Some basic stuff we'll discuss in the third chapter. That's what the third chapter completely talks about, the playbooks. Okay. Third chapter completely talks about playbooks. And then fourth chapter, we will discuss about managing variables and facts. So to simplify your playbooks, how can we use the variables and what is facts, how we define them, or if any sensitive data is there in your Ansible files, how can we protect them with the managing secrets and all that we call as Ansible Vault. So what is it? How we discuss. And then chapter number 5, implementing task control. So in this chapter, we will discuss how do we write the loops and how do we specify the conditions or what is handlers. See, believe me, up to this chapter number 5, your entire 70% of Ansible is done. Chapter number 2, 3, 4, 5. These four chapters will have almost 70% of your Ansible syllabus. And this is where the most common stuff, these 2 points. This is where these two chapters in your real time also where you face the issues when you're writing the playbooks, because we used to use the variables, we need to use the facts, we use handlers. There is a concept called handlers. Everything in detail I'll explain you later. Just remember the words handlers and loops and all. So this is where we face the issues in real time, like how do we go with the syntax and all, how these things will help you uh, to reduce your workload and all. I will explain you there. And then chapter number 6, deploying managed host. So there is a particular concept called a Zinza2 template. In this particular chapter, we have a concept called a Zinza2 template. So Zinza2 template we will discuss in chapter number 6. The key points I'm highlighting here. But again, each and everything will be discussed there. But the key points I'm highlighting here, that's it. And then managing large projects. So here we'll see, like, we will discuss what is dynamic inventory and all, and then how do we manage the dynamic inventory, and what is parallelism concept. Parallelism in the sense, just try to understand. If I have 1,000 managed hosts, assume when I have 1,000 managed hosts, I cannot push the code at a time into the 1,000 managed host, right? I have 100 managed hosts, I cannot push at a time into the 100 managed host. So there will be an order, like, first I have to push the code into 10 managed hosts, and then next 10, or first 5 managed hosts, next 5 managed hosts. There will be a sequence or a series. So that we call as a parallelism. It means at a time, in how many managed hosts you can push a single task. You can push a single task. And how do we include and import the code here? And one more important concept, guys. So one more important concept: simplifying playbooks with roles. Roles is just nothing but is a directory. Remember, roles is just nothing but a directory. Whatever we discussed in all the 7 chapters, we will write those all the things to a single file. We'll write all this into a single directory format, and then we execute that single directory. Instead of storing the files in multiple locations and executing the files from a different locations, what we do, we just simply gather those all the things into a particular place that we call as a role, and we execute the role. That's it. And there we have a concept called Ansible Galaxy. See, in your interview, the people may ask you what is Ansible Galaxy. Simple. Ansible Galaxy is just nothing but a central repository for your roles. When you have Ansible roles, it's a central repository. Then,
Galaxy will be there in the system, or I have to download from the internet?
see, Galaxy, you can, there are two ways, like, you can create your own role, or there are some predefined roles are available. From that, there also you can download it. Galaxy will be there. It's just a command. It's just nothing but when you install the Ansible, all the Ansible commands will come with the package, like Ansible Galaxy command also. You don't need to install. Okay, so it's
Okay.
just the way how you're creating the role. Galaxy is just a command, or Galaxy is a location where you are having a central repository. Your part is to what? How to create a role, or how to install a role, or how to download a role with the Ansible Galaxy command. Okay. See, you can create your own roles, or else you can deploy the roles which are existing in Alex. I showed this Ansible Galaxy. Just click on this Ansible Galaxy. Go to this. See, there are some more, like based on your usage system or database security development and all, there will be some roles. Let's say I'm just clicking on the system, or I need database. Let me go back. I need database. Click on this. See, let's say you need to deploy a SQL server with the help of a role. See, the role is already available here. The Ansible Galaxy command is available with you. Now you have to know only two things: how to download this SQL server, sorry, like this particular role into your machine, and how to initialize that particular role into your machine. That's it. Clear, Mohammed? Sorry, Farid.
Yes, Praveen, thank you.
That's it. Like, I'll show you this things in detail. You know that, like how we go. So we will discuss that. Don't worry. And then chapter number 9, troubleshooting the Ansible. Like if you're getting any errors in Ansible, how do we resolve them? And by default, Ansible will not store the logs. So in that case, how do we store the logs? How do we retrieve the logs of Ansible to do the troubleshoot and all? And then chapter number 10, you see, chapter number 10 is like it's like a practice purpose. Like whatever the tasks or whatever the commands we executed in RHCSA, or some Linux tasks, if all the Linux tasks, how do we automate with the help of Ansible? This is completely a practice thing. And here you will get to know most of the modules and the commands. How do we automate with the Ansible? Are we clear? And then chapter number 11 is just overview of all the chapters. Yeah. So that's all from my end from this Ansible syllabus and the basic Ansible overview. Yeah, so I think this time is 9. Yes, so within 1 hour we just done with the things. That's great. Yeah, any other queries, guys?
No problem.
Yeah, others like let me check with the people. Badri, Manoj, Megha, Shabas. Any other queries?
No, Praveen. We are good.
No problem.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah, no more from my end.
right. Yeah. Thank you. So let's see. We will discuss some basic things about the certification part as well here. Try to understand. Just 1 second. Samya ma'am, are you recording this session?
She started recording. Saw
Oh,
that she is
lovely.
still there.
I also started recording. Okay, then I'll stop the recording. Wait. We have started it, so that's good. Yeah, I disconnect. Yeah, cool. Now let's see. When it comes to your certification part as well. So the course will we will discuss for next 15 days to like I need almost 10 classes to finish the syllabus, like 10 to 12 classes. I'm talking about the classes, not the days. Remember, it means around 2 weeks to 2.5 weeks. If max and max, it goes 3 weeks. I'll not take more than 2 weeks. And guys, we will commit to the time boundary. As it whatever the time we fix, we'll finish it in on time. If you're having any boundaries for the certification timings and all, so within the time bound, we'll finish it. Don't worry. I'll finish this at any cost by this month end. Like the batch will start in within 1 or 2 days. We'll come back to you on this. Samya madam will reach you within 1 or 2 days. We will not go much delay also in this. And then certification part, like it is not like RHCSA. You need a lot of practice for RHCE concepts. Remember, you need a lot of practice for RHCE concepts where you have to write lines of lines playbooks, but it's all a matter of practice. Like you can do it easily. There is no concept called Praveen, is it difficult? No. And believe me, when compared to RHCSA, RHCE is very easy. I'm telling you, when compared to RHCSA, RHCE is very easy. See, Linux. The thing is what you should know Ansible, how to automate with the things. You are not creating any new tasks here. The existing tasks, how you are automating. That's it. That's very easy. And around you will have a 16 to 17 questions there. I will help you each and everything there. Will help you as per the certification part. You know how we do it, and we provide the labs. That's how COS is, uh, famous for giving the support to the students and giving the lab access to the students. So I hope you all completed the RHCSA with our lab access and with our support. So hope we'll finish RHCE with the same aura and with the same energy. I'm sure I'll make you certified there. You people knows that. So the only one thing I need from your end, practice. So if you are committing with the practice, then sure we can finish the Ansible, not only for the certification part. Like we'll see how Ansible will write the code and all, and some sort of things. Okay. So are you clear from my end? So like, let me know any doubts for the duration of the course or the certification part or any other things. I'll help you here. We will have a Q&A section for next couple of minutes. Let me know. But if you don't have anything, then we'll think about it.
I mean, for one question, like for the dynamic entry, we can practice on my laptop. I should have
No,
scripts for this one.
No, we cannot create the dynamic inventory at this stage. So that dynamic inventory will be available once you go to the real-time environment. Why I'm saying this? Let's listen. You no need to create the inventory first. So when you no need to create the inventory, there is no concept of learning. You got my point, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So the script, someone will write the scripts. We don't write. So what we need to do with that sh command, you need to execute the script. That's it.
For in the cost lab, there is some scripts are there. So that scripts
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to that particular chapter, you can use the scripts and it generates a dynamic inventory. If you want to have a look, that particular chapter guided exercise, you can have a look over there. That's
okay,
possible.
okay, okay.
That's possible. Yeah. Anything else? Others? Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. So then, no one has the questions. Thank you all. So I hope you enjoyed the sessions, guys. What is the feedback of yours here? Yeah. Is there anyone? Can you please give your feedback about the demo session so that we can mind them? Megha,
Yeah,
Manu.
Praveen, it is well explained, and we don't know what's Ansible from from we don't know what is Ansible, but you explained very well all things.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, like when we start the course, we'll go from scratch again. So there's all the topics again in detail. I will cover that.
Mm-hmm.
We can have in detail discussion. No need to worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks all. Thanks. Hope we'll meet very soon, like within 2 or 3 days. We all will start a new batch there. Yeah, that's all from my end. Thanks for attending the session. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye bye. Yeah, Soumya ma'am, you can stop the recording there. Ma'am, are you there?
Praveen, when is the next class?
Yeah, next is we will come back to you for it within 2 or 3 days. I'm just planning to start the batch within 2 or 3 days. I'll be back to you, no issues.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Praveen.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Praveen. Better call her.
I'll call her. Just you people can leave because I'll call her and she'll start the recording. So, ma'am, welcome.